Hello, dear friends, my dear audiences. Welcome to the East West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Bottani. Now I have a sponsor for year-round. Paul Bottani represents the men's-style Italian suits, such as the one I'm wearing, using the nanotechnology that makes the fabric water-resistant and stretchable.
Very nice.
If you do this, the elbow will not pop up. Something like that kind of thing. All right, anyway, well, you probably want to try one. Paul Bottani. Paul, thank you very much for sponsoring. Back to the show. How about that? Back to the show. Today we're talking about election. And when we talk about election, though, of course, those, two candidates who've been playing for years, for the 2 years, at least 2 years, are the most important. Yet, equally important are local issues, because you do not live in the White House. You do not even near the White House. What you do is that you live in this community with issues surrounding you. So that's it, right? One of the, yesterday we talked about all the 17 measures or propositions for California. And today we're talking about one thing in special, that is the ES measure. So with me today is my good friend. She is such a trustworthy person that every time when I need help, first thing I think, within 2 seconds I will call her. Name is Luann Arredondo. What a beautiful name. And she has more titles than I could mention, because if I do, I really have to cancel the show to read the list, right? To make a long story short, she is commissioner of West Covina City, and she is the immediate former assistant governor of Rotary International for 5300 district, and also now she is the chairwoman for Better Schools.
Correct.
All right. So. Welcome to the show, and
Thank you,
warmly.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here.
Very good, very good. Measure ES, I know it is important, but how, to my audiences, please, will you give us about the nature, the background, the content, stuff like that? Please?
Sure. So as Jack mentioned, the presidential election has had a lot of the spotlight these days.
You are right.
In West Covina, one of the big issues that we're facing right now is our schools. Our schools have not been updated in over 50 years. They've been maintained, but they have major issues have not been taken care of.
You're right.
And Measure ES is designed to take care of all those issues, or most of them now, not waiting, because I think for the public's perspective, we don't want somebody coming and asking us to raise our taxes or ask us for money today, and then a few years ask us again, and then a few years ask us again.
You're right.
The immediate question is, why didn't we just take care of it all at once? If we have immediate needs, let's take care of the needs, and then we don't have to think about it again for another 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And that's really the essence behind asking the residents to say yes on ES. We want to upgrade our kids. We want our children to be in modern classrooms, not classrooms that are 15, 20 years outdated. We want them to be safe. We don't want there to be rainy season now and roofs leaking because we missed a spot, and so let's patch it with a Band-Aid, but let's not take care of the real issue that's causing it. So Measure ES is designed for us to take a look at all the needs across all the schools, not just a select few, not just a select area, but all the schools.
That's something very good to hear about. I remember that, I recall that I first heard from Mr. Charles Kimman, superintendent of the West Covina SD.
Right.
And I was excited when I heard that news. To my audience, there is something to share with them. I'm an easy excited person, put it that way though. But the thing that I do have a strongest reason to get excited about is that you're talking about schools. There are zillions of issues equally important, yet if you do not have better schools, you do not even have a future. Every time, Lou, when I see pictures on the internet about poor countries, about their schools, immediately I would feel the proud.
Right.
Right? And the pride is deep in the heart, seeing that better schools we have. That's why we see lots of students coming abroad to get into our schools. And yet, not these days. All right, these days our schools are getting deteriorating. All right, so are getting serious now. So back to the measure though, how does it technically do the job?
So what happened is this actually started long before the vote. The schools were asked to create a needs assessment, and so they went around the schools, the staff, and identified. Now imagine if you were to go through your house and identify a needs assessment. Every room, every bathroom, every nook and cranny, how long that would take. Now imagine doing that for an entire school. So all the schools in the district went through and created a needs assessment.
You have nice schools, I believe, right?
We have good schools. Our school board has done an excellent job at managing the budget and streamlining where the money goes, and they've done a great job of maintaining the schools. But we're beyond the need of maintaining now.
Oh,
now it's time to
only
fix.
Part of it, yeah.
Right, that's only part of it. Now we have to fix things. And so the schools have assessed their needs. If the bond measure passes, which we hope you'll vote yes on Measure ES, then we'll be able to go back to those needs assessments and say, okay, let's look at it from a critical needs first. Let's take care of the critical needs first, and maybe we can get to the wants, maybe we can't. It really depends. And the nice thing about this measure is that there will be an independent third party that's going to be looking at it, making sure every penny is spent the way it's supposed to be spent.
I see.
The dollars are spread out across the district, and we'll be able to address some of the important needs.
Namely, what you're calling now, I mean, the proposition or measure is calling about now is to go ahead, do the assessment. I start doing assessment, door to door, room to room, bathroom to bathroom, classroom to classroom.
We've already done that. The school district has already done that.
I see.
Absolutely.
And then we do know exactly in our mind with the measure about what the size of the money that we need.
Correct.
I see.
Correct.
Do you have the numbers with you now?
So what we're requesting the taxpayers to approve is a $143 million bond.
$143 million.
For the entire school district. So the key to this, before the board even voted yes to move forward, they needed to know that the schools had a need, that there were issues that maintenance would not suffice, maintenance would not take care of. And that's why the needs assessment was done.
I see.
And after reviewing that, the board felt that we have enough issues here that we need to do something now. If we don't do something now, then we may have to come back again. So let's take care of it now so we don't have to come back again.
I see.
And the only other way to fix these issues is to pull from programs. And we can't do that. We have to allow our children to have good programs. We don't want our programs impacted by this.
In other words, there are problems, right, accumulated over the years.
Right.
And there's one way to deal problem after problem like that.
Right.
And there's another way, which is a better way to save money, though. You do it a big time,
right,
so that you don't have to worry the next 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, something.
Correct.
Like that.
Correct.
I see. Very good.
Yeah.
My dear audience, today joining me is a good friend of mine. I, at the very beginning, just mentioned you never know how good this friend to me is. And she's trustworthy. She's a backbone to the community. She serves the commissioner for West Covina, and she's now chairwoman for the collaboration of Working for Better Schools, working on Measure ES. And in the meantime, she herself is very heavily involved in Rotary International. She was immediate former governor, assistant to 5300 district. All right. So let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll go into it deeper and to see exactly how the conditions our schools have been. And how much our kids, our education has been suffering, right? So stay with us, please. Hello, my dear folks, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Batanley, a big-name brand internationally renowned for men's suits, such as the one I'm wearing. I know by looking at that, you know that's a first-class suit or jacket. I have a set of it. Okay, thank you, Paul, for sponsoring. Back to the show. With my good friend Luann Arredondo, chairwoman of the Collaboration for Better Schools in our district, West Covina School District, we talked about the measure for the 2016 election in the Valley, waiting for you to cast your vote. That is the measure for ES, right?
Correct.
ES. What ES stand for?
Well, that's just the bond measure. What we've done is we've formulated a group of citizens, and we created Citizens for Excellent Schools. So ES for us stands for Excellent Schools. And so our group is Citizens for Excellent Schools. Vote yes on Measure ES 2016. Long name.
Yeah, sure. As citizen of West Covina, and I believe that we really want to get involved, or a citizen of West Covina School District area, though, you really want to get involved, because the beauty of democracy is that at least one thing, that you have the right to say a yes or no to a certain issue.
Right.
Many yeses collected together make it a yes. Many no's collected together make a no. Right. So you want to make a yes or no. Your decision, though, that you have to get involved is that's the condition, right? So, talking about better schools, obviously we are trying to upgrade our schools, to improve our schools, okay? And there are two concerns. One concern to me is that we want to elevate our schools to internationally renowned level,
right,
which we are far away from. And number two, we have to save our schools from deteriorating, from going further down below.
Right.
Right. There are two different issues.
Right.
Right. So how do you assess our school district, please?
So I think we have, one of the reasons I moved to West Covina was because of the school district, because of the level of education and the quality of education that our students would receive. And the assessment, and it's good that you bring up that point, because we do have those two needs. We have to make sure that we're keeping pace with the evolving world around us and the global markets that our students are entering when they leave high school. It used to be you had a 4-year college education, maybe went on for your master's, maybe a doctorate, and then got involved in the global markets. Now our students are graduating high school and are immediately involved in the international world. So we need to make sure they're keeping pace with their counterparts. We don't want them worrying about the classrooms around them. But equally important to our programs are the buildings in which they're getting that education. So the money is only so much. It's a finite pot of money. So our board has a very difficult task. They have to decide, do we continue to throw money at maintenance? Or do we fix and rejuvenate and refurbish our schools so that not only can we compete, but we don't have to worry about those costs moving forward. We can start focusing our dollars on the programs where they need to be spent.
Yeah, you probably want to make sure you cut yourself at 60% mark, right? So to those, of course, who we always want to get to the 90%, 100%. But there's a different story, right?
Right.
And to those who, and that falls below the 60 level, though, it is something like eyesores in the district.
Right.
When you drive by, you see schools, a little kind of like rockin' building with a blue roof, something, looks like a temple. I don't know how I describe it. Kids running about, and the playground conditions. Well, that really needs some attention.
Right. And it's just aging. It's natural aging. It's nobody's fault that it's aged that way. Imagine leaving your home with just maintenance for 60 years. What would happen? There would be signs of aging.
Yeah, of course.
So our district has signs of aging. So we have a choice as citizens Do we take care of it now, or do we allow it to continue to deteriorate? And when it comes to the point where we will no longer have a choice, then the cost will be exorbitant, because now imagine inflation over the years.
Now you're talking about $143 million.
Correct.
And 5 years later, probably you'll talk about 200, 300.
And it could be more. And it could be more. The initial assessment tells us we needed to go after 143 million. If it had said 50 million, we'd be asking for 50 million. But it didn't. The needs are at that level. We need to, now it's up to the citizens, not the school board. The school board has done their job. The school board has said, we agree, we have done our homework, we agree that our schools need this help. We are not going to make this choice for our citizens. We want our citizens to make that choice. So it's up to us to decide how important are our children and their future, how important are our grandchildren and their future.
All right. The necessity is almost confirmed.
Right.
I mean, by talking, I couldn't help stop the images popping up into my mind about poor schools. I've been quite a few of West Covina school district schools, and I'm quite impressed by the way how resilient they are. Those buildings, classrooms are resilient, really resilient. There are potholes on the playground, and so steps are missing, and the rail bars, handrail bars are missing, stuff like
cracks,
that.
Everything.
And the trees need to be replanted. Bathrooms kind of like running a very, very funny smell, something like that. And the libraries too, I went to quite a few. And they do need, to my eye, even some simple shelves. The word shelf will help, but they're running.
It's the little things that add up, and it's not little things either. I mean, you can look, there's images there on the website.
Right,
they did a video and it showed some of the images. We can't show everything, obviously. The website would be too long for people to look at. But we are putting a the needs assessment. We've had calls, so Citizens Group has had calls saying, can you give us a detailed list? So we've responded and we've said, yes, we're working on pulling together the initial needs assessment that was done. It'll be posted by the end of this weekend. So by the end of this weekend, people can go online and see. I go to Orangewood. Okay, here's their needs assessment. And if you're an Orangewood parent, you're going to say, yeah, that's true. I see that all the time. My son goes to Edgewood High School, and he's on the water polo team.
All right.
And the pool facility is municipal pool. So it's a city pool. They don't even have their own pool. Cracks, chips, and
you name it.
And then they don't. It's not even deep enough for a water polo team, but that's all they have. So I think our students, our coaches, our parents, our staff, they have done a fabulous job working with what they have. But that's not enough. We can't stay competitive. It's time for us to really take a look at it.
We need the infusion of the new blood, right? And so.
And the beauty of this is that this is an issue that's not strictly Republican. It's not strictly Democrat.
No.
This has no party line. This is just parents,
it's a partisan-free. It's a partisan-free issue.
And it's an issue that we can all agree on. We want safe schools for our children. We want great programs for our children. And I believe, and I've seen it because my son is in the International Baccalaureate program, that our school district has done a great job at addressing the programs. They're looking at the kids in the bottom third that just need that nudge, and they can move forward. And they're looking at relationships and partnerships with the junior colleges, the trade colleges, the four-year colleges, so that all our students will be able to say, I've got the training that I now have choices when I leave high school.
You're right.
So they're doing their job. We need to make sure the buildings stay intact so that they can continue to do their job. Because I don't want them making a choice down the road. If we say no on this bond measure, and down the road we have to pull programs because the building has to get something done, that will impact our children worse
You
than
just mentioned
just fix the
yeah,
building.
you just mentioned the pool. So without the pool, your son didn't get the Marco Polo training.
Well, it will impact it. They have to
okay.
they have to alter the way they're coached in order to accommodate the facilities in which they're playing in.
You're right.
Not that a pool is on the critical needs list, but there are critical needs that we need to address.
It's overcrowded.
You know, we don't need our children kind of dodging and hoping that the building doesn't fall down around them. Like, it's a good thing. Now, there are opponents who say, well, we can go a few more years. It's like, okay, I liken it to a friend of mine, my next door neighbor, had on our street had the bathroom, the plumbing, and the plumber came out and said, "You've got a small leak, but it's okay. You can save money now, and we'll put a Band-Aid on it, and we'll let it sit."
Okay.
And so they come to us, and we said, "No, fix it."
I would say pretty soon our kids need to learn, say, falling down.
Yes.
Classrooms are falling down, my fair lady.
Exactly. So
all right. Okay.
So this resident, this neighbor, waited. They saved the money,
very good.
and they waited. And 6 months later,
the
water pipe exploded, and now they had water damage throughout their kitchen, the area, and it cost 10 times more. Had they just fixed it, they would not have that issue.
Totally different.
So I liken it to that.
Okay, my dear audience, by looking at the school district conditions, by looking at the necessities, we really find out that this whole thing needs to go, right? And if we do not go now, we would have to pay rather dearly, 10 times dearly than what we do now. With me today, my good friend, ES Arredondo, sharing a lot with my audiences. Let's take a little moment out. When we come back, let's see the money. Let's be counting. Let's see how the money comes from, how we can, as citizens, responsible citizen, how we can put together that number and make things go. Stay with us, please. Hello, my dear audience. Welcome back to the East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Paul Battelli, that represents Italian men's fashion suits. Wonderful suits. Thank you for sponsoring, Paul. Back to the show. With me, my good friend, ES Arredondo, Commissioner of West Covina City, and she's also the chairwoman of Citizens for Better Schools.
Excellent schools.
For excellent schools. Excellent. ES, right? For excellent schools. And in the meantime, she wears many other hats that I omit for the time being. For Citizens for Excellent Schools is really an issue that I first heard from Mr. Charles Hillman, Superintendent of West Covina School District, and I was excited about it and excited to see better schools or excellent schools. And today with my friend ES Arredondo, we're sitting on it. We're exactly talking about how we want to manage the money, where the money comes from, right? Okay, now, for Measure ES, you're talking about a total of $143 million. Right. That's not a big money.
No.
Compared to the size of a district, though, that's not a big money. Correct. But money is money. Right. A dollar is a dollar, right? So how do you see the realization of the $143 million getting to the basket, please?
Okay, so if the residents were to vote yes, they would be agreeing to a $60 per $100,000 of assessed value of their home. So yesterday, in the afternoon, I was talking to one of our residents because I have my phone number and I want people to call me. I want you to ask me questions. I want to alleviate any concerns you have. And the resident said, well, my home is assessed value is $600,000. So I said, okay, well, 60 times 6, because there's 6 100,000s in that value.
360.
So $360 a year. So you're looking at about $30 a month. And like you, we have to consider college costs. We have to consider our home, our cars, our food, all the things that go into our personal budget. So look at it from the standpoint of my discretionary income, the money that is just my mad money. Can I give up for me and our home? It's about, it's a little less than that. It's closer to $20 a month. And I look at it as, what do I spend if I take myself and my family to the movies? Just a typical Sunday afternoon, dinner and a movies, I might expend $200. And if I do that once a month, that's a lot of money I'm expending
that is
on
a lot of money,
popcorn
yes.
and food,
Soda,
and it satisfies my palate, but it doesn't provide my kids with a better school. It doesn't provide my kids with safe buildings. So can I, our family, take $20, $30 from there and say yes? And for us, the answer is easy. For us, the answer is yes, absolutely, because I can see the value of the measure.
The way I look at it in my audience is that $60 per 100,000 is not a big deal. Exactly like Lou says, you have a median family, median house for 300. For let's say six. Let's say 600,000, and then 6 times 60. That's 360. 360 per year. That's $30 per month. Right? And $30 per month is really nothing. You a cup of coffee, if you go to 7-Eleven, do a refill, that's just a refill a day, that kind of money. And if you go to theater for a movie though, with your kids and a husband or a wife or whatever, I don't think $30 will do, right? So if you go like say twice a month, and then you're talking about even more. And this is one concern. The second concern is that now that you're talking about 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road, with the inflation, 10 years, 30 years down the road, the $60 might be evaporated already.
Right.
Right?
Right.
If you decide to do now, the dollar's value stays there in exchange of the measure and the work arranged, the job are done. So in the long run, in the short run, in the medium run, they all make sense. Do you think so?
I think so, and I think too that residents need to consider it even goes beyond the yes vote. Once the yes vote is there, and you have your audit committee, and you have parents that are involved in keeping a watchful eye, like we do, that's what parents do, then you have to make sure that at that point, then you start looking towards the board. Because the board is going to make those decisions. They're going to tell the superintendent what the superintendent can and can't do. And we have a wonderful board and we have a wonderful superintendent. But we need to make sure that we're recognizing exactly what we're asking for.
But we'll talk about the transparency in the next segment. But right now, let's focus about our homeowners in the school district area. If you put the dollar numbers together, of all the homes home values, and then you time it by $60 per 100,000. So do we see ends meet?
Oh yes,
we do.
We'll see the ends meet, and the key again is it's on assessed value, not market value, assessed value.
Yeah,
so for some of the costs.
All right, that make more sense. That makes more sense.
So I think it's when you hear it, I think what happens is you hear the word tax. And all of a sudden, our ears perk and we start thinking, no more taxes, right? But we have to really take the step back and say, okay, what are we really asking for? Okay,
let me do a little revision. They say death and tax, they are the inevitables, right? Okay, meaning that you have to die somewhere, somehow. You have to pay tax anyway, like that kind. The only concern is that if you pay your tax in a meaningful way or unmeaningful way.
Correct.
All right?
Correct.
So you have to do it anyway.
Right.
You have to do it anyway. Okay, meaningful or not meaningful. So if you have the least IQ to make your own judgment, though, this belongs to the meaningful, because you're talking about schools, you're talking about your kids, you're talking about our future as a community.
You're talking about your property values.
Your property values.
Imagine the schools deteriorating.
Yeah.
If the schools start to deteriorate. Now, when I moved into the community many years ago, that was the first place I looked. What are the schools? Because I have small children. My concern wasn't how close am I to the supermarket, how close am I to the mall, how close am I to City Hall. That was not my concern. My concern was show me the schools.
Yeah. By then, suppose, had you not seen the school district, though, West Covina will not have a commissioner.
Might not.
The logic would tell you, right? Okay, my dear audience, today with my friend Luann Arredondo, Commissioner of West Covina. I should reverse because she's the chairwoman of Citizens for Excellent Schools. We're talking about Measure ES, which is quite necessary to me, which is quite meaningful. If you're talking about comparison between meaningful and meaningfuls, I would say this is more meaningful, because to me, it is even more meaningful than who will be the president of the United States, because I will never know him or her. I'll do the same kind of work. I'll pay the same kind of a damn tax. I'm sorry for the language anyway. So it's the same thing.
Right.
What doesn't make a difference, it does make a difference, is that we see better schools, right? Let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we want to see the security of the money, right? Transparency of the money. And how are we sure the money is go to the roof, the bathroom, the playground, right? The library, rather than a city hall or a pothole on the road, or something like that. So stay with us, please. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the East-West Show. I'm your show host, Jack Chow, with lots of pride. I do this job not as a job, it's my privilege to get in touch with all the update issues. One of the update issues for the East-West Show, which is exclusively sponsored by Paul Batanley, is our measure. One of them is the ES measure for West Covina School District. Representing that position is the chairwoman of Citizens for Excellent Schools of West Covina School District, Luann Arredondo. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
Okay. We, layer by layer, peel the onion until we see, of course, the conditions are bad, it is necessary to do so. Money is feasible, it's reliable. I mean, realization is quite there. And then next thing we want to see, security, right? How secure the money, the $143 million, would be security in the basket for the ES, please.
So with the bond measure, by law, we are required to only spend it on the facility upgrades. It can't go for teacher salaries or things of that nature.
Or union pension, stuff like that.
It has to go for the elements in which it was voted on. In addition to that, the school district is creating an audit group. The audit group is made up of a certified public accountant. So they legally know the aspect of accounting.
I was exactly going to ask that.
It's going to be made up of teachers, staff. It's made up of parents and community residents. So individuals that are stakeholders in these dollars. And that audit committee is the oversight committee for these dollars to make sure that the money is spread out, to make sure that it doesn't just go to one area of the district, to make sure that every penny is spent in a manner that it's meant to be spent in.
Okay.
So the real call here is that in addition to being on the show and asking our audience to vote yes on Measure ES, I want the audience to call me. I want them to call me, pick up the phone, call me, ask me questions. Pick up the phone, tell me I want to be on that audit committee. Because I'm keeping a list of all the people that I talk to that say, Lou, I want to be on that committee. Wonderful.
All right.
Let's get you on those committees.
Very good. And what's the number, please?
626-703-3041.
Okay.
You can also find it online at www.ES丨East.org.
All right, my audience, as you can see the numbers popping up on the screen, take a note of that, and also the website, take a note of that. You may go ahead and proceed because it is our own backyard. If you do not care, I guarantee nobody else would, right? Nobody else would think about, oh my God, let's care about Jack Chow's backyard, right?
Yeah.
The lawn needs to be lawned. The lawn needs to be mowed, something like that, right? Nobody would do that, right? So it's your own backyard. If you do not care about it, there's nobody, I guarantee, would care about it, right? Okay, now, for the security of money, of the bond measure, of all those kind of things, in other words, the money collected, they all tell different stories. At the beginning, they say, we'll do, yeah. They swearingly say, hey, we're in, we will make sure, so on and so forth. And later, there is no supervision, and there is no supervising group, right, or oversight to oversight it. So your case is something in particular that I feel more trustworthy.
Yeah. Well, in our case, I think, and it's good that you say that because I think there are individuals out there that believe the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that in our case, it's not, this is what we're going to do, it's this is what we need to do with these dollars.
Okay.
And then this is what we want to do.
Okay.
But need first. And in addition to that, it's not only are we going to keep a watchful eye, but we're going to include you. We're going to actually ask you to participate in the oversight.
And you invited my audience to call you to get you involved, to be a member of the community, committee, to be a member of even the panelist.
Absolutely.
Right? Something like that. Okay, now, next thing is that, as it was about last show with Corey Allenson, we were also talking about measures, money, tax money, and I last asked him that, what if the money is not spent in that way? Does anybody go to jail? All right, let's do that. All right, and he says, I don't know if anybody would go to jail, but if I take office, I'll make a law. I'll propose a law that somebody goes to jail if they betrayed the voters. So do you think that's quite a thought?
Well, I think it's an interesting thought. I think in the case of this bond measure, the audit committee is essential. Because it's the audit committee that's going to look at it and have the oversight to say, was this done? Are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah,
not after the fact, but all the way through. So it's a constant hovering, if you will, over these dollars.
Okay.
Not just, let's look at it 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. We want the constant oversight. That's how sure we are that this is a good thing.
I see. Are the voters involved, or people, or citizens involved, who wants to get into the committee, the oversighting committee, supposed to be displayed with a schedule? For example, we have 20 jobs for the next 20 years. On year 2 or on year 7, we're supposed to done by the mark of the 7, that where the 7 stands for, right? And then goes with the money, right? 7 out of 20. So when you're at the 7th mark, the money at the 7th mark, do they have kind of like a display, a chart display, or planning display? Do you have that kind of consideration, please?
Well, so what you're talking about is a strategic plan. So the strategic plan and layout of how this will be executed.
Strategic plan says the overall.
Right.
I'm talking about pinpointing to each year mark or job mark.
Well, I'm sure we will.
You will, right?
I'm sure we will, because of the need, because of the goals of what an oversight committee is responsible for. So at this point, our focus has truly been just let's get the yes vote. Once we have the yes vote, then we can sit down and say, okay, now we have the yes vote. What is it that our citizens really want? Just to say oversight is not enough. We know what oversight means. We know it's to look and keep a watchful eye.
Right.
But how do we take that and put it into executionary terms? That's where the school district will step up.
So to execute it, you have to vote a yes.
Right.
You have to prove
Step
it.
one, vote yes.
You voters, if you do not approve, there is none. There is no measure, no bond measure, whatever, right? We may go fishing so something else. Now, once we get serious with it, and then we ask everybody to understand our voters, especially now when money is so tight, when the economy is so down, for them to make a decision of $60 per 10, that's not a small deal. Right? Even though the money can be waged and can be made that way, it is waged not without a hard consideration.
Absolutely.
So to do that, I believe that they need a transparency of everything, and they need a strategic plan, or in my term, the mark-to-market plan.
Correct.
Something like that, right? So the next thing is that how are we planning on calling our voters to vote yes, not no?
So what we've done, Citizens for Excellent Schools has donors that have donated dollars that has allowed us to put together mailers. So our residents should have received a series of mailers in the mail. We are currently in the process of doing precinct walks, so we're walking door to door. And it's perfect because last weekend I walked and I hit 180 homes myself, knocked on doors, talking to people.
I couldn't get you.
Oh no, when my phone goes off and I'm focused on this, and talking to residents, hanging door hangers, handing them our business card, directing them to the website, because we have a lot of answers on the website, all the FAQs. Questions come up and we say, that's a great question. If it's not on our FAQs, we're adding it to the FAQs, because the residents we don't hit, now they have a place to go to get those answers. We have one more mailer coming out to urge people to get out and vote. City of West Covina was approved as an appointed city for early voting, so residents can get out and vote this weekend, the 29th and 30th at City Hall. They can also vote the 5th and 6th at City Hall and get that yes vote in.
All right, okay. And on my side, I would call my audience is to exercise your right of democracy to prove that you are, you are one of us. If you do not go out and walk, though, I would say, to go out and vote, I would say you do not belong to us because you don't even care, like that kind of thing.
I think everybody has to make the choice on their own. I think everybody belongs to our community. We're all a family. Our community is a family, and we're going to have differing views in our family, just like a family. But the key is that if you are one of those yes votes, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. Get them to understand what we're asking for. Whether you're doing it for your children, like I am in my case, or my grandchildren, or you're doing it for your property value.
Yeah, you're right.
We want a community that looks good, that has the appearance of not just barely maintaining itself.
This is like a positive cycle, right?
Yes.
With a poor school district, nobody wants to come to West Covina.
Correct.
Right? And when nobody comes to West Covina, the school goes even further deteriorated.
Right.
And it goes on and on and on.
Right.
And positively, you improve your school district. You do the job that calls for I mean, long time overdue, and then you increase it. And when the school value increases, your own houses, the value gets increased.
Right. And
That's automatic.
And as a community and senior services commissioner in the city, when I do my commission walks and I talk to residents and they have young kids and they're telling me, my daughter was telling me about this and this at their school, this is the chance to fix that.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. And somebody came back from New York, one Jersey area, talking about a beautiful school, though. And at dinner table, we said, well, all right, okay, for the, and well, we envy, we admire those schools, but now it is your moment to do your own job to be that kind of school.
Right. And let's do it all at once.
Very good, very good.
Let's not be the child that says, Mom, 20 bucks, 20 bucks, 20 bucks. No, just ask me for the 100.
Yeah, I want you to use the last 30 seconds to call upon voters what to vote, to your telephone numbers, who to contact to, your website, please go ahead.
Okay, so I want to thank you, Jack, for having me on the show. And I would like to urge every one of our residents to get out and vote. Whether you're voting for the president, voting for the school bond, just get out and vote. When you're at the polls, please vote yes on Measure ES. And remember, whether you're doing it for your kids, your grandkids, the property values, we need our community to stay strong. We need our community to be more than just a maintaining look and appearance. We want it to be a beautiful community and maintain its status.
In other words, you do it for yourself.
Do it for the community. Do it for the family. Do it for the greater good of our family, because Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. We all care about our kids, and we all care about their education. So vote yes on Measure ES. Call me. 10,000 residents will see this on their ballot. I want all 10,000 of you to call me. 626-703-3041. And you'll be reaching out to Lou Arredondo, Chair, Citizens for Excellent Schools, yes on Measure ES.
And website, please?
www.yesones.org.
All right. Thank you very much, my dear audiences. I believe by now you have already made up your mind. So we'll see you on that very day, November the 8th.